We don't know that. Thank you very much for inviting us. It should be fun. I missed the one in the church. We didn't go there because I went to this is the best country.
Hi, I'm Karen Suyama. I'm Dan's wife. I just want to make sure you pronounce your last name.
Anniversary. It's been an amazing 50 years, and I'm proud to say that I spent some of those years at the church. So welcome to the 50th anniversary celebration. 50 years ago, a small group of people saw the need to have a central place of worship in the south end of Alameda County. They were the Japanese community of local business owners, farmers, nurserymen who traveled with their families north to the Alameda Buddhist church. That probably took a better part of a Sunday. Land was finally purchased and a temple was built. And today, here we are celebrating 50 years of Buddhism in southern Alameda County. This morning's service certainly reminded us of their hard work and the energy to make sure the Dharma continues to grow here. When I was growing up, I remember spending many Sundays at SACBC. And some of the things that I learned back then certainly became the foundation of how I've tried to live my life. Some of the lessons learned, taken from the words of the Golden Chain of Love. And just to quote a few of those words, I'm a link in Amida Buddha's golden chain of love that stretches around the world. I must keep my link bright and strong. I will try to be kind and gentle to every living thing and protect all who are weaker than myself. So these words, I think, resonated and made such an impact, and certainly these values were instilled in my family, and we continue to try to do what we can to give back into our community. I also remember some of those fun church functions, the annual bazaar, and it being a family affair, manning the game booths, running away from the Nomura boys and their confetti eggs, hanging out with my BFF growing up, Cindy Fujiwara, and playing basketball. So many great memories. Tagging along, Cindy and I, with our older sisters, Lori and Tracy, to the junior YBA basketball tournaments and the dances, etc. So, of course, so many great memories, and I cherish all of them. This is just a small glimpse of the impact that SACBC had on my life, and I'm grateful for those memories, for those opportunities, and am proud to be here to share in the celebration of the 50th anniversary. So now, I would like to move on and introduce
Thanks, Kristi. Good afternoon. It's great to see everybody here, and a special welcome to all our guests and people who traveled far to be here. Where Were You in '62 is a popular tagline from a famous movie, American Graffiti, made by a then unknown filmmaker, George Lucas. As he couldn't get any big studios to back him then, he called upon his good friend Francis Ford Coppola to back his small film, and the rest, as they say, is history. Also back then, some pioneers in the southern Bay Area, like Kristi mentioned, like Mrs. Kori Shibata, Satori Sekigahama, and Iwanari Kajikawa saw the need to establish a Buddhist church in the Hayward, Union City, Fremont, and Newark area. On May 26, 1961, the Southern Alameda County Buddhist Church was officially founded with 41 families. A year later, on September 9th, in 1962, our Hondo was built, and to fund the mortgage payments, our first bazaar was held on July 13th and 14th in 1963. The minister's residence was built in 1970 and the Sangha Hall in 1974. And again, the rest is history. Now, I don't know how many remember what year back in 1962. I guess Reverend Umezu remembers what he was doing. I have a hard time remembering what I did last month. So. But anyway, here's a few highlights from that year in 1962. President John F. Kennedy made his famous speech about landing a man on the moon within a decade, which we did do in 1969. Johnny Carson took over the Tonight Show from Jack Parr and went on to host the show for another 30 years. In August, Marilyn Monroe was found dead in a Hollywood bungalow from an apparent overdose. The very first James Bond movie, Dr. No, premiered in October. The 23rd movie in this series, Skyfall, will premiere this October. The Beatles replaced their first drummer, Pete Best, with Ringo Starr, and recorded their first single, Love Me Do, on the EMI label in London. Also in London, another British rock group, the Rolling Stones, played their very first gig at the Marquee Club. Andy Warhol unveiled his famous Campbell's soup cans exhibit in Los Angeles, and many people either got hungry for soup or thought that they too could become an artist. In Rogers, Arkansas, the very first Walmart opened. Today there are over 8,500 stores worldwide. The Incredible Hulk #1 is debuted by Stan Lee and Jack Kirby. Boy, it'd be nice to have that comic book today. Telstar, the first communications satellite, was launched into orbit and transmitted the first transatlantic TV signal. And that sounds pretty quaint in the state of the internet with instant communications. Also, and on the space front, Scott Carpenter orbited over 3 times in the Aurora 7 space capsule under the Mercury space program. A few days ago, the last space shuttle did a flyby in the Bay Area, and I hope some of you were able to see it. Tony Bennett recorded his famous hit, I Left My Heart, in San Francisco, which only reached number 19 on the hit chart, but would become his famous signature song. The San Francisco Giants played their first World Series in San Francisco with the New York Yankees. Unfortunately, they lost that year, and it would take them another 48 years to finally win the series. And after thinking last night, we might be on the way to another one this year. In October, a young JFK faced on the Soviet Union in the Cuban Missile Crisis. So as you can see, there was a lot going on back in '62 that still has an impact today. 50 years is a long time, and a lot happens, but time does go by quickly. Each and every one in this room has been a part of SACBC in some way. As we move forward from this day, think about what a small group of people did back in '62 and reflect on the legacy today as we celebrate our 50th anniversary. Thank you, and enjoy the rest of the program today.
Thank you, Ken, for that history. Now I'd like to introduce some of the special guests who are here today, who are joining us for the celebration.
It is still true that when we stand in the light of the sun of the Dharma, we are all warmed. So in Thanksgiving, let us recall the spirit of one Dharma family that has instilled values not based upon economic or material worth, but rather a place where honesty and wisdom are its light, and mutual respect through understanding and trust are its life, where we are mindful of the universal interdependence and relatedness of all life, enjoying things in common, and appreciating a place of harmony of differences. Namo Amida Butsu.
Namo Amida Butsu.
Itadakimasu.
So we have one more thing. I'm also going to ask Mr. Yamada to come up and do a kanpai toast. As you can see, there's some sake in front of you.
Yeah. Everyone has a
Twist my arm. Any extras over there? Hey.
Whenever there is
Turn on.
occasion like this, I'm the one that has the honor of being able to give out kanpai So for those who's old enough to raise the Sakazuki, please do so. For those who are not young, too young, just take anything in front of you. Raise. Here we go. Kanpai, SACBC. Banzai.
It's good.
That was nice.
Yeah.
Yeah, I know.
This community, this country, this planet. Thank you for this meal. Namo Amida Butsu. Gochiso sama deshita.
Wedding anniversary. Hooray! 80 years ago, I was born.
Yay.
But we arrived yesterday afternoon, flying into Oakland Airport, and Sandy Maruyama and Dick Maruyama picked us up at the airport and drove us to this hotel. On the way, I could hardly recognize the area because it's been 35 years since I left the temple. 42 years since I came to Alameda County Buddhist Temple. So many things have changed. Not only the scenery, but those who were in the Dharma school then are now mothers. And there's one person who became grandmother. Arumi. Amazing. In 35, 40 years, so many things have changed. But since I arrived, and especially this morning when I met with so many of familiar faces, many of you told me, "Sensei, you haven't changed." I guess because I haven't lost any more hair. But really, I know I change. Everybody changes. Everything is impermanent. However, there's one thing that hasn't changed. That is the Dharma. That is the immeasurable compassion and wisdom of Amida Buddha. And this torch, which was lit many, many years ago by the Issei pioneers, have continued to brighten the area. And I hope that you will continue to carry on this great torch of Nembutsu in this area so that many generations following will appreciate the same appreciation you have of the Nembutsu path. Thank you very much for inviting us. We are really enjoying our stay and reacquainted with many of you. And I would like to say many of you have changed, but some of you haven't. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Sensei. Okay, our next former minister, Reverend Dr. Hoshu Matsubayashi.